If you were to ask who's the mascot of Christmas, people will have different answers. Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, Frosty the Snowman, or Jack Frost. But general consensus would bring up the jolly man with the red suit, Santa Claus. There have been many interpretations of Saint Nick. Some focus on the toy delivering, others focus on his love of children. But what about Santa Claus as a superhero? That'll be the subject of today's look back on the miniseries from the 1998 Nicktoon Oh Yeah cartoons, Super Santa. Super Santa was created by animator, writer, storyboard artist, and voice actor Mike Bell, not to be confused with Michael Bell. Mike Bell had previously worked as a writer and storyboard artist for the Disney Channel animated series Nightmare Ned, before being brought to Nickelodeon to pitch his project, where he would write, storyboard, produce, direct, and voice Santa himself. So with that said, let's take a look at all 4 of the Super Santa shorts and see if they're heroic gems or bargain bin junk. Episode 1, titled Jingle Bell Justice, begins in a normal day at our fair city, when suddenly toys come to life and causes havoc and destruction.
The toys plague the city with a bizarre crime wave.
You were mugged by a doll? A teddy bear robbed your bank? A Wanda Wet stole your car?
Santa and his wife Emma sense that something is wrong, and they make their way to our fair city to stop the problem. They figure out that the toys were brought to life by an antenna shooting rays that are being controlled by an evil toy bunny rabbit named Barnaby Bunny, now calling himself Bedlam. He wants to get revenge on Santa because he wanted to be made into a cool toy that children could play like a robot, but instead was made into a rabbit where he was rejected and teased by kids and other toys.
Oh, come now. You can't make a fighting robot out of pink fur and stuffing.
Lies! You're Santa Claus! You can do anything! Now, you're gonna pay!
Episode 2, titled South Pole Joe, starts with a giant gingerbread cookie attacking our fair city. Santa and Emma take down the cookie with a truckload of milk, and the city celebrates him as a hero once again. Meanwhile, in the South Pole, a man named South Pole Joe reads about Santa's heroic deeds in the newspaper. Becoming jealous of Santa's success of not only being beloved by children for his toy delivery, but by the adults of saving him from trouble.
No one said nothing to South Pole Joe. They act as if the South Pole is beneath them. Just because the hole in the ozone is over us. I'm sick of it. It's not fair. I'm just as important as Santa.
It's very similar to when Jack Frost was jealous of Frosty the Snowman in the Rankin Bass special, Frosty's Winter Wonderland. Joe decides that he can outdo Santa by becoming the Valentine's Day mascot, delivering his own gifts to the people. When he drove from the South Pole to our fair city, it took him longer than anticipated, arriving on April 15th, Tax Day, where everybody is scrounging to get their taxes done and put in the mailbox.
Taken so long to travel from the South Pole. All of Joe's flowers had wilted. His chocolates had gone stale. And his toys were, well, horrible to begin with.
At least when Santa gives me a toy, I can tell what it is!
Episode 3, titled Vegetation, begins with someone stealing all the fruits and vegetables around the world. When Santa and Emma find out about this, something is attacking their kitchen. It turns out to be a group of giant sentient vegetables. Santa and Emma track them down and learn that the person responsible for it was a man named Dr. Carmine Miranda, who was persuading the fruits and veggies to join his side and revolt because humans only use them for food. It's very similar to the motivation that Dr. Wily gave to the robots in Mega Man 9, saying to join his side because of the law stating that if robots reach a certain expiration date, then they'll be scrapped and put in the junk pile. But there's another reason on why he's doing his diabolical deeds.
Dr. Miranda, you're one of the world's leading horticulturists. Why are you using your knowledge for evil?
Because when I showed the fools at the Worldwide Horticultural Society my first major breakthrough, the smelly-footed carrot, they laughed at me and called me a madman. But now with my army of fruits and vegetables, I'll soon rule the world. And when I do, I'll fire them all.
Episode 4, titled Naughty, takes place in July, where the kids are behaving nicely, the elves are busy making their toys, and Santa is busy rechecking the nice and naughty list. but a mean, greedy, and rich man named Elmer Scrooge, the great-great-grandson of Ebenezer Scrooge from A Christmas Carol, wants to take revenge on Santa for always giving him coal for Christmas. So he releases bad gas around the world, making all the children naughty, so that everyone will be just as miserable as he was around the holidays.
Elmer, you've always been naughty! For instance, the time you broke Old Man Higgins' window and blamed it on your baby sister? Or the time you knocked over the fish tank? The list goes on and on! I had no choice but to give you coal.
Now that we went over the shorts, let's go over what I liked about Super Santa. According to a 2008 interview with Frederator, he had talked about his major influences in animation, from Jay Ward, the creator of Rocky and Bullwinkle, to Monty Python's Flying Circus. When watching the shorts, you can tell, especially with its narration and irreverent humor.
Some people did panic. Stores closed, houses were shut up tight. Everywhere, panic reigned.
What's the headlines, George? Invasion from Moon. So what else is new?
So South Pole Joe went to work on becoming Father Valentine's Day. But Joe did not have the tools that Santa has to pull off a major holiday. Where Santa has highly skilled elves to help him make toys, Joe had penguins, which lack opposable thumbs and could not use tools.
It also seems to take cues from the 1966 Batman series starring Adam West and Burt Ward, with its transitions and onomatopoeic words when Santa and Emma are fighting against the villain of the episode. But the one show that Super Santa reminded me of the most when watching it was the Powerpuff Girls. The same narration introducing the city, the check-ins on the heroes and villains, and even the outros are similar.
And once again, the world is safe from toy bunnies, thanks to Super Santa!
Once again, the day is saved. Thanks to the Powerpuff Girls.
It makes a lot of sense since both Craig McCracken and Mike Bell were in CalArts and worked together in various shows. Not to mention that Craig McCracken also cited the 1966 Batman series as a major influence when creating the Powerpuff Girls, as well as Japanese animation and socks. Yeah, look it up. While Super Santa doesn't pack the same punch of humor as the Powerpuff Girls, it does have some pretty funny moments, especially when looking at it as an adult. The voice cast is pretty good, even though there are only 3 main characters: Santa, Emma, and the narrator. Mike Bell as Santa is awesome. He has the perfect amount of charisma, being jolly as the traditional interpretation of Santa, yet valiant as a crime-stopping superhero. This wouldn't be the first time that Mike Bell would portray as Santa. He would do so in the Powerpuff Girls, SpongeBob, and the Peabody and Sherman Show. Mari Weiss as Emma is very interesting. She sounds like a female William Shatner, which was a bit distracting at first, but I kind of grew into it. Then there's Darren Norris as the narrator, who's very similar to the narrator from the Powerpuff Girls.
Another beautiful summer day in our fair city. Just right for a little television time.
'Twas the city of Townsville, and all through the town, all the townsfolk are stirring as snow's falling down.
This style of narration is very similar to serials from films and radio, which makes a lot of sense since it's an homage to the narrator from Rocky and Bullwinkle, an homage to old radio serials from the 30s and 40s. It came full circle 20 years later when Rocky and Bullwinkle was revived in Amazon Prime, and the narrator is voiced by Darren Norris.
While Bullwinkle painfully laid on his bed of trophies, Boris and Natasha put on their next super spy disguises.
All the other voice actors from Billy West, Tom Kenny, and Kevin Michael Richardson do great jobs playing as their respectful characters. Before Grant Morris's Klaus comic book series, before William Joyce's Guardians of Childhood series, and before Paul Dini's Jingle Bell comic book series, there was Mike Bell's Super Santa. When the first short was released in 1998, it was a novel concept. While Santa has made appearances in both DC and Marvel, he wasn't always the hero. He was either rescued by the heroes or one of them believed in him. For example, Superman believes in Santa, which is not a surprise at all when you know about the character. There are so many possibilities with this concept. Imagine a series where Santa not only rescues people, but maybe enchanted creatures from mystical lands. Maybe Santa can go up against an evil version of Santa in the form of Krampus who's trying to harm the children. Maybe even a special where Santa, Jack Frost, Rudolph, and Frosty would come together to help the children or save Christmas. They did it for the Rankin Bass special, so why not? Overall, this concept is just brilliant, and it's no wonder why other interpretations would be followed up years later. With that said, there are problems with Super Santa that fell short of what could have been great. Here are the things I didn't like about Super Santa. The villains are very forgettable, and their main motivations are pretty much the same in all the shorts. They want revenge on Santa. With the exception of Dr. Carmine Miranda, where he wanted revenge on the whole world for laughing at his dumb vegetable creation. That's just lame. Maybe they were trying to be less evil and more goofier and over the top to try to get the kids to laugh at their incompetence. Well then, none of them made me laugh. At all. You see, that's one of the main reasons why the Fairly OddParents, ChalkZone, and My Life as a Teenage Robot were picked up as TV series for Nickelodeon, and Super Santa was not. They were able to create loving characters, unique concepts, and threatening obstacles in a short amount of time. Vicky, Reggie Bullnerd, and the meteor about to destroy the Earth were way more memorable than any of the villains of Super Santa combined. While Santa and Emma are fun characters, they aren't enough to carry the weight of the shorts. While people might argue that the shorts are only 7 minutes long and they couldn't implement everything that they wanted to, but that time limit pushes creators to go above and beyond to create something memorable in the short amount of time that they have. Disney and Pixar have mastered the craft of creating memorable shorts that are just as beloved as the movies that they're alongside with in that same amount of time, sometimes even shorter. That is very commendable. Christmas is the most popular holiday of all time. It's a giant, gluttonous event that consumes the fall and winter seasons. Holidays like Halloween, Thanksgiving, winter solstice, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, and more don't even come close to Christmas's popularity. Even though we love Christmas, we kind of hate it at the same time because of how mainstream it is. Radio stations and shopping malls playing Christmas songs 24/7 could drive you crazy. People decorating Christmas lights and putting up decorations on October. The horror that is Black Friday. And marathons of Christmas movies for months at a time. When January comes in, we're relieved. We're more than excited to put away the tree and decorations until next year where we get to do it again. So imagine a TV series all about Santa, even playing in July when you're getting ready for Independence Day, or March if you're getting ready for St. Patrick's Day. It would be tiring. There are a lot of TV episodes and movies about kids wishing it were Christmas every day, only for them to get sick and tired of it after a while. That magic where people can gather around and give presents, believe that there's a Santa Claus going around the world with his reindeer, and the wonder of the Christmas spirit only works in bursts during a certain time of year. Not all year round. While I do commend Mike Bell trying to create a series about Santa Claus saving people, having it air on days when it's not Christmas wouldn't work at all.
It is not Christmas. This conclusion was reached by the mayor's office after an extensive investigation revealed that it is, in fact, July.
I think it would have been really interesting if Super Santa was only released once a year during the holidays. Team 4-Star used to release their Hellsing Ultimate Abridged episodes on October during the Halloween season. And that got people excited because not only was it year-round, and it fit the Halloween season perfectly with its depiction of vampires, but also it would give them a lot of time to work on their stories and their jokes. I know Nickelodeon would have not done that, but still, it would have been nice if maybe they would have featured it on their Nick.com website. But I think it would have been too ahead of its time. While I do love some of its irreverent humor, Santa and Emma, and the concept, the episodes are simply okay. I don't know, but just something about it felt off when I finished marathoning through all 4 shorts. Besides the lackluster villains, some of the jokes were hit and miss, especially when it goes a bit juvenile for the kids.
I'm melting!
Unable to stay crispy in milk, the gingerbread menace becomes a soggy pile of gingerbread pudding.
Drop the charade, Scrooge. We know you're behind the bad gas.
The action scenes are very weak, which I know it's about Santa Claus. We know him as a jolly man, not a violent one, but it could have been done a lot more creative. While the third and fourth shorts had some of the best action moments, they felt pointless at the end. In Vegetation, Emma found a cure for the vegetables and sprayed them to their original forms. In Naughty, Elmer Scrooge's servants simply gave up and turned on their master for treating them so horribly or firing them. I felt that the people behind the shorts simply ran out of ideas really quickly and had to rely on recycling them again and again and again because they had another opportunity to do it. They featured sentient things twice and mean and disgruntled villains throughout all 4 shorts. At least with the Fairly OddParents and ChalkZone, they varied up their plots and introduced additional characters that fit well into the stories. But with Super Santa, not really. Now that we went over the pros and cons, let's talk about why, in my opinion, Super Santa was forgotten. Number 1. Many people dismiss Oh Yeah cartoons as one of the de facto Nicktoons. The 90s were, what many people argue, the best decade Nickelodeon had in terms of their content. They premiered their most groundbreaking and critically acclaimed shows that still stand the test of time. However, Oh Yeah cartoons was never one of them, even when it first aired back in 1998. Most people called it a show that they would watch when it's on, and gave no further thoughts on it. If you were to look up a list of the top 10 Nicktoons of all time, or even top 10 Nicktoons of the 90s, Oh Yeah cartoons would either be dead last, or not there at all. It left such little impact on people that they completely ignored the show altogether. Others who are familiar with Cartoon Network's series, What a Cartoon, created by Fred Seibert as well, called Oh Yeah cartoons a poor imitation, since that series was the one that spawned the pilots for Dexter's Laboratory, The Powerpuff Girls, Cow and Chicken, Courage the Cowardly Dog, and Johnny Bravo. They were the shows that kickstarted Cartoon Network as a major contender for creative cartoons, when they were mostly relying on Hanna-Barbera reruns. Not to say that the Fairly OddParents, ChalkZone, and My Life as a Teenage Robot didn't impact Nickelodeon in a huge way, but when you compare to what Cartoon Network's What a Cartoon series did for their channel, it's not even close. Number 2. Super Santa's release time on Oh Yeah cartoons. The first short of Super Santa premiered on September 6, 1998, as the third and last short of the 8th episode of the series, alongside Hobart, Deep Sea Dive, and the first short of the Fairly OddParents. There would be no new episodes of Super Santa until Season 3 in 2000. Season 3 was when pretty much nobody saw Oh Yeah cartoons, because they already had other Nicktoons to watch that were more entertaining, such as SpongeBob SquarePants. After a while, it pretty much became obscure until Frederator started to upload the first short on their YouTube channel, and Mike Bell posted all 4 shorts on his Vimeo page. After that, cartoon enthusiasts looked back on the shorts and talked about its unique premise. Number 3. The shorts haven't aired again since its premiere. For people who've complained that they air the same shows on Nick Rewind over and over and over again, there are many reasons why. But for the sake of keeping things relevant for this subject, shows like Kablam and Oh Yeah cartoons rarely air because the shorts belong to different creators. The network would have to go through massive legal issues and compensation if they aired a short from any of these series without the creator's permission. The only way people can see them legally is if they purchase them individually or in pairs, which some of them can't. So many people watch them on YouTube from old VHS recordings when it first aired. But not all of them. I heard some people on videos and podcasts who discuss about Oh Yeah cartoons or What a Cartoon or Kablam that they like to watch the shorts that they like and skip the ones that they don't. So if they want to see where the Fairly OddParents got its start, then they can watch that and skip Hobart and Super Santa, because they would have no attachment to those shorts. That's perfectly fair, and if you do that, that's fine. But you would miss out on some great shorts that have just as much creativity as the ones you're familiar with because they were eventually made into an animated series. Maybe that's a top 10 list down the line. Now here's an interesting fact. Did you know that Oh Yeah Cartoons was going to have a 4th season? In 2005, 4 years after Oh Yeah Cartoons ended its run, Fred Seibert announced that they were looking for new storyboard pitches for possible cartoons since they were bringing the show back with 40 new episodes. However, for some reason, it was scrapped and retooled as a new series called Random Cartoons, which premiered on the Nicktoons Network in 2008, 3 years after the announcement. Unfortunately, random cartoons didn't catch on with audiences, possibly because it aired on the Nicktoons network, which many people didn't have on their cable providers back then. There were only 2 shorts that were picked up for TV series. The first was Fanboy, which spun off into Fanboy and Chum Chum in 2009, which received mixed to negative reviews upon its release. Then there's Adventure Time, which Nickelodeon rejected twice, despite being viral online. So Cartoon Network picked it up in 2010 and pretty much became one of the most important cartoons of the 2010s decade with surreal humor, ongoing story arcs, and deep lore. This was the cartoon that brought Cartoon Network back, when a year prior they were struggling with keeping audiences tuning in because they felt cartoons were dead and featured a lot more live action shows. So what would I rank Super Santa? Well, it's not bargain bin junk because it has good ideas in it with a unique concept and entertaining main characters, but it's not a heroic gem like the criminally underrated Cyber 6. It's somewhere in the middle, so I'm going to give it the rank of medial jewel. If you're interested in checking out the shorts, I'll leave a link to Mike Bell's Vimeo channel in the description below. With that said, happy holidays everyone, and have a happy new year.
I want to leap over buildings, want to fly over the shores, save the people from the villains, catch the crooks who rob the stores, write my name upon the sky, and when you call me, I'll be there, faster than a lightning flash, rushing through the cool night air. So start ignition, count to 0. I just wanna be a superhero. With fearless thoughts, emotions swirled, I wanna be